ba bye bye, ya ba bye bye, ya ba bye, ya ba bye bye, ya ba bye bye, ya ba ba bye, ya ba bye bye, ya ba bye bye, ya ba 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 bye, ya ba bye, ya ba bye bye, ya ba bye, ya ba bye bye. Ya ba bye bye, ya ba bye bye, ya ba bye bye, ya ba 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 bye, ya ba bye bye, ya ba bye bye, ya ba bye, ya ba bye bye, ya ba ba bye bye, ya ba bye bye, ya ba bye bye, ya ba 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 bye, ya ba bye bye, ya ba bye bye. Ya ba bye, ya ba bye 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 bye, ya ba bye, ya ba bye bye, ya ba bye, ya ba bye bye, ya ba bye bye, ya ba bye, ya ba bye bye, ya ba bye bye, ya ba ba bye, ya ba bye, ya ba bye bye. Yeah, bye bye, yeah, bye bye, bye.
Good evening. Erev Tov. Oh, now I can even see you. Before you were just blurs, before the glasses were on. How is everybody doing this evening? Good, Michael. I'm glad that Michael is filled with energy. I hope the rest of you are filled with energy. So a couple of short announcements. Number one is hopefully those of you who signed up, and even if you didn't come and see me, I'm sure we can find a spot. There's a Sukkot dinner afterwards. That's number one. Number two is tonight we are in the middle of the holiday of Sukkot. And because we're in the middle of the holiday of Sukkot, that means that we actually do not do Kabbalat Shabbat. What is Kabbalat Shabbat? Does anybody know what Kabbalat Shabbat is? Yeah, it's welcoming the Sabbath. And every evening there's an evening service that we call Mariv. Whether it's Monday night, Tuesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, there's always a Mariv service, the Shema and the Amidah. Then on Shabbat, there is an introduction to the Mariv service only on Shabbat called Kabbalat Shabbat, to receive the Shabbat, created by the mystics of Sfat as a way of saying we can't just transition into the Sabbath. We need something to move us from the hectic, crazy, secular nature of the week into the Sabbath itself. And so they created this service called Kabbalat Shabbat, which is a series of psalms that concludes with the singing of Lecha Dodi. But on a holiday like Sukkot, which is a week long, or Pesach for that matter, which is a week long, where there's a Shabbat in the middle of it, we actually don't need to do anything, the rabbis teach us, to get ready for Shabbat, because we have the lingering essence of the holiday still with us. Each day of this week has been a semi-holiday, even after the first 2 days of Sukkot. I don't know how many of you have had a chance to shake a lulav and etrog. If not, you can certainly come this Sunday morning at 9 o'clock. It will be your last chance of the year to shake a lulav and etrog. We have lots available for you. And I don't know how many of you have had a chance to sit and have a meal in a sukkah. But if not, tonight is the opportunity for you. Or tomorrow morning, you are welcome to come to services tomorrow. Or you can come Sunday morning or Monday as well. So instead of a Kabbalat Shabbat service, we do have Chazan Smith and Kevin here to lead us in a couple of introductory songs to get us in the mood, and then we will jump into our service with the Psalm for Shabbat.
Oh, just going straight into Mizmor Shir? Let's see what we want to do here. הנה מה טוב ומנעים. שבר החיות, אח החיות ואחים. הנה מה טוב ומנעים. שבר החיות, החיות ואחים. הנה מה חיים יחד לחיים על העולם. גם יחד נהיה חיים על העולם. הנה מה טוב שבר אחים. שבר החיות, החיות ואחים. אחיות ואחים לחיים.
I was thinking as Joel was singing that earlier today, Samson, who I think many of you have already had an opportunity to meet, from Uganda, Rabbi Gershom Suzomu's son-in-law, accompanied me to D. Toledo High School. And he accompanied me to D. Toledo High School because D. Toledo is involved in a project at the high school in Uganda for the Abba Yudaya, where they are helping create spirulina tanks in order to help feed those who don't have proper nourishment. And there are 7 9th through 12th grade girls who are traveling to Uganda in about 6 weeks, along with a teacher, to see the project. Unfortunately, during COVID, a lot fell by the wayside. It started before COVID, and COVID has not only challenged us, but as you can imagine, challenged those in Uganda even more so. A school that was once thriving with 300 students has significantly shrunk. And so we hope to help build that school back up again. And these students are going to be traveling to Uganda to visit the project that D. Toledo started some years ago. And one of the things that Samson did, because they're going to be spending a Shabbat in the community, is taught them Hine Ma Tov. Do you remember the melody? Hine Ma Tov Umanahim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad Hine Ma Tov Umanahim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Here's what I learned though. So in that moment, after the Hine Ma Tov, then it switches to Lugandan. And there's a little bit of Lugandan, which I'm not going to sing for you, only because you won't understand what I'm saying. Otherwise I would sing it. But he said to me, because the community has grown so significantly over the years, particularly since Rabbi Suzomu opened up his yeshiva in 2008 when he was ordained, there are now students that come from Kenya and from Chad and from all sorts of other places. And they now sing, instead of it just being a verse of Hine Ma Tov, and then switch it over to Lugandan, they now add in Swahili, right, Kikuru, and all these additional languages. He said 10 languages. It takes a long time to sing Hine Ma Tov. But I think it speaks volumes to what Joel and Kevin just led us in. Shevet Achim, Shevet Achot. What does it mean? It means to dwell together as brothers and sisters. And we have a tendency to think only of the Jewish community that we are so familiar with here, maybe in Israel, and we forget that there are Jews all over the place, Jews who are just as committed as we are to living their lives under the guise of God and committed to our faith and our traditions. And I asked these young ladies why they were all going to Uganda and what this project meant to them. And each one of them said very similarly, We want to know that there's a larger Jewish community out there, and that's part of this initiative at D. Toledo called Global Jewish Initiative, which connects their students to projects all over Central America, Latin America, Europe, Israel, and now Uganda. So, Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. We turn to page 27 as we begin our service this evening with Psalm for Shabbat.
Mizmor, 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 shir, shir leyom ha-Shabbat. Mizmor, 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 shir, shir leyom ha-Shabbat. Oy Shabbat. Mizmor, 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 shir, shir leyom ha-Shabbat. 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 Mizmor, 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 shir, shir leyom ha-Shabbat.
U'zamer l'shimcha. Yisimach tanu Adonai b'folecha ma'aseh yadecha arnenu.
Tzadik katamar yifrach, yifrach, tzadik katamar yifrach, tzadik katamar yifrach, yifrach, tzadik katamar yifrach, ke'erez balvanon yizke, ke'erez balvanon yizke, ke'erez balvanon yizke, yizke. Ke'erez balvanon yizke, ke'erez balvanon yizke, ke'erez balvanon yizke, yizke. Lehakid ki asher Adonai tzuri v'lo avla tabo.
Page 29,
Adonai
Adonai
malach
Malach.
Yehud lavesh, levesh Adonai ozi tazam. Edotechen emnu me'od, levetecha na'ava kodesh, Adonai le'orech yamim.
Mourners and those observing Yortzeit, rise on page 30 for Kaddish Yatom. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divrach yurtei v'amlich malchutei. V'chayechonu v'yomechonu v'chayedecho Beit Yisrael. Ba'agalau v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam romei amaya. Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekudisha b'rechu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damiran ve'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom b'imromav, huya aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. We remain standing as we turn to the call to prayer, the Mariv service that begins with the Baruch Hu on page 39.
Lai, 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 ya, lai, 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 ya, lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 ya, lai, 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 ya, lai, 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 lai. Lai, lai, ya, lai, 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 ya, lai, 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 ya, lai, lai, ya, lai, lai. Ya, lai, ya, lai, 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 ya, lai, 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 ya, ya, da, 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 da. Barechu et Adonai hamevorach.
ya la 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 la.
Ya la la ya la 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 ya la la ya la la.
You may be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'ivanu. Borei yom v'layla golem.
Umaver yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila. Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayam. Tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'ma'ariv ha'ravim.
Amen. Ahavat Olam, page 40.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amecha avta, Amcha avta. Torah u'mitzvot, Hukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbeinu, uvkumeinu nasiach bechukecha, ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, נגה יומם ולילה. יהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. אוהב עמו ישראל.
We join together the Shema, page 41.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levacha u'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha, v'hayu hadabarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibartam bam v'shivtecha b'beitecha u'lechtecha b'derech u'shochbecha u'vkumecha וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך.
Continue on page 42.
Adonai Elohechem Hemed.
Page 43.
ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם, משה מרים ובני ישראל לכנו שירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו כולם אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד לעולם לעולם ועד אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד לעולם לעולם ועד מלכותך ראו בניך בוקע ים לפני משה זה לי ענו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד לעולם לעולם ועד אדוני מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא תהילות אוסף אליהם מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא תהילות אוסף אליהם אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד לעולם לעולם ועד לעולם ועד ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Amen. Page 45, Hashkivenu.
ושמור צאתנו ובנו לחיים ושלום מעתה ועד עולם ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ברוך אתה אדוני הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
Amen. We rise, page 46, Vishamru.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם אותי לעולם אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש שבת ויהי נפש שבת ויהי נפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם יתגדל ויתקדש מרבה.
אמן.
יעלמה דברת חירותי וימליך מלכותי
חייכון וביומכון וחיי לכל בית ישראל. בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב
ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי עולמיה. יתברך יתברך וישתבח ויתבר ויתרומם ויתעשה ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעלמה ויאמרו Amen.
A few minutes of silent prayer. The Amidah for the festival is found. It's not for the festival, sorry. The regular Amidah is found on the next page.
Chesed yibaneh, yadadai, dadai, yadadai. Olam chesed yibaneh, yadadai, dadai, yadadai. Olam chesed yibaneh. Yadai, 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 Olam chesed yibaneh. Yadai, yadai, yadai.
Page 53.
ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה וישפוט ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו אלוהי אברהם אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב אלוהי שרה אלוהי רבקה אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא אל עליון קונה שמיים וארץ מגן אבות מדברו, מחיי מתים במאמרו, האל הקדוש שאין כמוהו, המניח לעמו ביום שבת קודשו, כי בם רצה להניח להם, כי בם רצה להניח להם, לפניו נבוא ביראה ופחד, ונודה לשמו בכל יום תמיד, מעון הברכות. אל ההודעות, אדון השלום, מקדש השבת ברך שביעי, ומניח לקדושה, לעמד ושני עונג, זכר למעשה בראשית. אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו ואמותינו, רצה במנוחתנו, קדשנו מצוותיך ותנכנו בתורתך, סבנו מטובך ושמחנו בישועתך, וטהר ליבנו לעבדך באמת, הנחילנו אדוננו באהבה ורצון שבת קודשך, ונחובה ישראל מקדשי שמך, ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת.
Amen. Kaddish Shalem, the middle of 54.
יתגלה קהילה שמי רבה,
אמן.
יעלמה דברה קירותי, וימליך מלכותי, בחיי חון ויום יחונו חיי לכל בית ישראל, בגלה בזמן קריב, אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעלמיה, יתברך, יתברך וישתבח יתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתרא ותראה ותראה, שמי רקודשה בריחו, תאלה מכל בחדה ושירתה, תשבחתה ונחמתה, דמירם בעלמה, ואמרו אמן. תתקבל תדות ההונו ותהון לכל ישראל, קודם בהודני בשמי ואמרו אמן. יהי שלום רב משמי וחיים, עליהם לכל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום. עלינו בכל ישראל ואמרו
Amen. Aleinu, page 56.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
כי מלכות שלך יום תמלוך בכבוד.
ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
ונאמר
והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
You may be seated. Now is the time when we remember our loved ones, those whose yortzites begin this evening and carry through to the end of the week. The list of yortzites that I have in front of me are unfortunately last week's yortzites. Thank you, Michael. Connie was out today. So I don't have a list. So what I would like to do is invite those who are observing a yortzeit to rise, to state the name of the individual and the relationship of who you are remembering this evening. And at the same time, I'm going to invite the Simons family to rise as they remember their beloved patriarch Norman, who died the past week. So we'll just go around the sanctuary. Douglas, who are you remembering? Yep. You guys can stand with him. He's your father. May his memory be a blessing. Simons. Anybody else? So remembering all of them, holding them deeply in our hearts, may their memories continue to be a blessing to us. We recite the words of the Mourner's Kaddish on 58. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divrach yute v'amlich malchute. B'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agalau v'zman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam omei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar, v'yitalev, v'yitalal, shemei d'kudisha b'richu. La'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiran ve'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, huya aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol Yoshvei Tevel ve'imru. Amen. You may be seated. I realized, of course, as I was just beginning, that we forgot to add the psalm. We are still, although it's a mixed tradition. Some people recite this psalm till the end of Yom Kippur. Some people recite this psalm to Hoshana Rabbah. It's always been our tradition to recite it until Hoshana Rabbah. So it is found on page
59.
59.
David and I
The David Adonai.
Lulei hamanti derot betuv Adonai be'eretz chaim. Kaveh el Adonai chazak b'yametz libecha. V'kaveh el Adonai.
So one more time, those in mourning and observing your sight, rise for Kaddish Yatom on page 58. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divrach yute v'amlich malchute. V'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'v'zman kari v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Yehi shmei Rabbah
mevarach le'olam olamei olamaya.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei d'kudisha b'richu. Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Damiran ve'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Seh shalom b'imromav huya seh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. You may be seated. Usually, it's more windy than it was this year for Sukkot, I noticed. And I noticed that because oftentimes I have to go out into my backyard and pick up the decorations that fall from my sukkah. This year, it's only one picture on one window. I have 3 photos on 3 windows that I've taped up, and one of them keeps falling down. I have taped it, and I have retaped it, and I retaped it again, and it still keeps falling down. And I'm saying to myself, why? What is it about that one photo of carrots? I mean, the other one's lemons. Those are heavier than the carrots. Maybe, I don't know. That keeps falling down. And then I say to myself, it's not so bad. It's just one picture. I remember one year in Baltimore, our neighbors and I, we lived on a cul-de-sac, and we used to build a sukkah together on their driveway, which was in between our 2 houses. And I woke up one morning, looked out of my bathroom window, which faced the cul-de-sac and the sukkah wasn't there.
Sukkah thieves?
It wasn't there. Now, it's not like you could pick up the sukkah. It was heavy. It's like big, massive pieces of lumber that somebody could steal. Where did it go? Well, there was a wind, a big wind, and it was a heavy sukkah, and it blew the sukkah into the forest behind our house. There's a debate in the Talmud. There's always a debate in the Talmud about how strong a sukkah to withstand a certain strength of wind. Does the sukkah have to be in order for it to be kosher? Can a regular of wind be enough? How strong do you have to build the sukkah? And of course, the question belies an underlying idea behind the sukkah, which is what I kept thinking about when I kept placing the carrot photo back onto the wall. And that is that Sukkot is a reminder of the impermanence of life. Something that we don't necessarily enjoy thinking about unless we are struck with illness or a loved one is struck with illness. Most of the time, we go by our days not really thinking about, will this be the last? Because that wouldn't be very healthy. We spend an entire 25 hours on Yom Kippur doing just that. And then we come to celebrate Sukkot, and it's supposed to be an uplifting, lively, celebratory, joyous holiday. But at the same time, we remember in the midst of our joy that life is temporary. Hevel Havelim, we're going to be reading tomorrow morning from the book of Ecclesiastes of Kohelet. What does Hevel Havelim mean? Vanity of vanities. Life passes us by very quickly. And that darn picture that kept falling down, fell down for a reason. It was there to remind me that as beautiful as my sukkah is, as strong as I think it is, which is not really very strong, right? We fall down and life falls apart and things happen. And what do we do about that? Well, I think religion comes to tell us exactly what we need to do about it. We need to be grateful, and we need to be joyful, and we need to celebrate with family and friends. And part of being connected to a synagogue community is to remind us that we don't have to go through the life's challenges, the ups and the downs, the highs and the lows, the celebrations and the sadnesses alone. That we have community to be able to celebrate. We have community to pick one another up. We have community to say Kaddish together. And we certainly have community to celebrate and sing and dance, which we're going to be doing on Simchat Torah, and enjoying the talents of Joe the ventriloquist, who will be here on Monday night. A little surprise, which is no longer a surprise because I just told you. So what was going to be a surprise, I just ruined it. But then again, life is temporary, and that's just the way it is. But hopefully you'll join us at 6:30 that evening. So I want to acknowledge all of those this year, and were many who joined our synagogue this year. Some of you are here this evening, and as has been our tradition for many years, we invite you to come to our sukkah, because sukkah is all about ushpizing, inviting guests, friends into our sukkah, hachnasat orchim. And while we invite our ancestors, our patriarchs and our matriarchs, we also want to recognize the newest members of our community who have joined us. So, some of you are here, some of you are not. I'm just going to announce, I don't see the Aloons unless you're hiding somewhere. So if you are, come on up. The Carries, come on up. Heather Goldman, come on up. The Krongolds, come on up. The Rabinovitzes, where'd they just go? They were just here a second ago. The ones with the little children right there. Will somebody go grab Joshua and Katie? And the Sneers and the Zuckermans. If you're here, come on up, and we're going to invite you to stand under this talit while we offer prayers of welcome, of celebration, of joy that you are part of our community. So, slide over to the room. As we stand, as you make your way under the talit, I know I announced more people who are here, but for all of our members, we hope and pray that as the long-standing members of this community have found a gracious, warm, welcoming Kihilat Kedoshah home, we hope and pray that you, the newest members of our community, Minda, can you stand up and... I know, but that was bad. That was bad. We hope and pray that each one... We hope and pray that each one of you will find the same kind of warmth and community that all of those who are here, who have been here, whether it is 5 years, 10 years, 25 years, or 55 years, have found in our glorious synagogue. And acknowledging the significance of this moment, we're going to sing Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
Would you be willing, if you're not so shy, to introduce yourselves, to say your names, and then all of you are going to go up and introduce yourselves to them at some point this evening. Heather, you're right in front. Will you start?
Heather.
Helene?
I'm Helene Krongold.
I'm Ralph Krongold.
Oh.
This is Levi, and I'm Lila.
Nice to meet you.
Langston, Katie, and Matan.
All right, we welcome all of our new members to Shomrei Torah. You guys can have a seat. Thank you. We're going to conclude services the way that we began services. As it happens, since Samson is here, and I told the story about visiting D. Toledo today, and Samson sharing with the students, getting them to learn the Lugandan part of this song, Hine Matov. I thought it's nice that we're all together for Samson to conclude services for us with Hine Matov. Just a reminder to join us outside for our Sukkot dinner right after services. That's number one. Number two, tomorrow morning services at 9:30. Sunday night at 6 p.m. Please join us for a minyan at 6 p.m. to begin Shmini Atzeret. Monday morning services are at 9:15. We do recite Yizkor at 9:15 on Monday morning. Monday night at 6:30 for Simchat Torah, a celebratory evening of song, dance, music, food, and Joe, the ventriloquist, who you're going to be surprised at. And then Tuesday morning, we honor Carrie Har and Carrie Fox for our celebratory Simchat Torah bash. So we conclude with
Thank you so much, Rabbi, for the opportunity. I'm still struggling how to fix this mic, but it will be okay for some time. Oh, thank you. Shabbat Shalom. I am Samson Nderitu. That name sounds fun, and you can always have fun with it. Don't fear to mention it, but it will trick you. Watch your tongue. I'm very happy to be here as well. And Hine Matov, it's our song, and we have made it in 10 different languages because we thought of something that when I have something good, my brother always asks me, what about me? So it started with Luganda, which is a Ugandan language. So when I joined the Ugandan community, then I asked Rabbi, you are singing Luganda, I'm very happy. What about me? What will I sing? Then he said, you bring Kikuyu from Kenya. And then we got Nigerians. And so the song has expanded, but the best part of it is to make each of us feel the warmth, the love, and the support when you are seated next to each other. If you just look at your neighbor and look behind a little bit, you just realize that they are very special people. And we missed that a lot during COVID. So we take this opportunity to celebrate and sing together with a lot of ruach energy, knowing that this is rare opportunity if you just remember the memories of COVID. So we will go by Hebrew, then I will sing in Luganda and some Swahili and maybe Kikuyu, but you'll be repeating on the part when I say hine hine, you'll be repeating the Hebrew part. So it goes like this. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hine matov umanayim shevet achim gam yachad. Then Luganda laba we kulyo kurungi we kusanyusa awo Luganda okutula hine 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 mato umanai shevetahim gam yachad. Kitu kizuri sana kinapendeza, wadada na wadugu wakiwa pamoja hine 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 mato umanai shevetahim gam yachad. Ni uhoro mwega muno na wagikeno, ado anyo bemwe maiguanete hine 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 mato umanai shevetahim gam yachad. Hine 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 mato umanai shevetahim gam yachad.
Yay.
Once again, a reminder that God willing, in a couple years, I will be taking a trip to Uganda to celebrate Ziva's bat mitzvah. And if you're interested, we'll follow in the footsteps of the Shapiro, who are going very soon to Uganda because their daughter, as a bat mitzvah project, raised funds to help support the Abu Udaya community. So if you're interested, come and see me or let the office know. Shabbat Shalom. Hine matov umanayim
shevetahim gam yachad. Hine hine